Ange, how's 75 hard going?
Well, it's going good. I'm day 42 today.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it's been pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but enjoyable, 100%. I feel like, well, you obviously know about 75 hard.
Yes.
And what's involved with it. Like 2 workouts a day, obviously 1 inside, 1 outside. That is pretty standard to my normal day-to-day living. So nothing much has changed. I think the days I struggle are the days where I've got to do multiple classes, say inside, so in the HQ, and then I've got to then do a workout outside. So I might not be starting that until about 9 o'clock at night, but I've already done like a lot of workouts throughout the day. Does that make sense?
So you're not starting your first workout sometimes till 9 o'clock?
No, because sometimes if I train inside, like I might have to do 3 as part of coaching.
Yep.
So I'll do 3 workouts inside, but you've got to do 1 inside, 1 outside.
Right.
So that's what I struggle with sometimes. Days like today where I ran for 2 hours this morning, I've then got to do another workout, a 45-minute workout later in the day. So I think those are just the kind of the little struggles that I have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm very active in doing lots of stuff, but sometimes ticking the box is a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
The right box. Reading, loving that.
So what is it? So it's the water.
Yeah, so 4 litres of water,
Yep.
pure water, so you can't have anything added to it.
Okay.
So no BCAs or like I'm very much a salt drinker.
Yep.
So you can't have that. So it's going to be 4 litres of pure water. 2 workouts a day, both 45 minutes at least, and 1 has to be done outside at least.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, it's good. And then 10 pages of reading
Yep.
and a photo a day.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Just
then
so
a
you
clean
know.
diet too.
Okay.
Or follow a meal
And
plan.
what diet is it that you're following?
Well, I think I'm pretty lucky, really. I had a really good catch up with a nutritionist that deals with endurance athletes. So I've been able to basically double my calorie intake, and just follow like good, clean, healthy eating. So lots of carbs for me because it's good for running. Where I know a lot of other people that within the group that are doing it, they are on a more of a calorie deficit. So, I'm a little bit lucky I get to be in a surplus.
Now, would you recommend that, going to a nutritionist? Because I feel like I hate eating.
Yeah.
And I just can't stick to a meal plan. And I feel like I would love, like when I was in India, for example, we had a cook there.
Yeah.
And that was the only time where I felt myself actively gaining weight because I was forced almost to eat food.
Yeah. So you don't like the cooking side of things?
I just don't like any of it. I don't even like eating sometimes. I just it just feels like a chore when I have to eat more than what is necessary.
Yeah. It can be hard. Like I know people that want to put on weight in bulk. Like it can be challenging to get the right amount of calories in. And like you said, it's hard work weighing food and making sure they're all within like the right, your macros are correct and all that sort of stuff. It can be quite overwhelming. That's where nutritionists can be good because they can really, if they're good, they'll simplify it for you. What is it that you are normally eating? What foods do you love? Let's just sort of play around with what you've got going on and add little ways that we can bulk it up or what have you. I know for me, like the guy that I spoke to, he was brilliant and has made life a little bit easier for me, if you know what I mean. Like this is the plan. I don't have lots of spare time, so let's stick with this. And I guess, I don't know, food for me is fuel, so I don't mind eating the same thing a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I was at a stage there where I was eating steaks almost every night.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice a day. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't really get sick of food.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that if you've got a goal, seeing a nutritionist is really, really good because there's no one meal plan for people.
Yeah.
That's why I don't give out meal plans.
Have you found yourself gaining weight during this 75 hard or it's almost
No.
impossible?
My That's just, yeah, for me probably it is. But I'm running so much and training. So, yeah, I was in a huge calorie deficit that I wasn't actually that aware of.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm just fueling my body so much better and I've got so much more energy and I haven't gained weight or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's too, to be fair, that's like the weight side of things for me is such a byproduct of the 75 hard. It's not, I'm not doing it for physical changes. It's more of that, discipline and, yeah.
Have you struggled yet? Mentally?
There's been a couple of days I've struggled where, again, just going back to that whole boys went off to boarding school. There was a lot of stuff going on within my life. One was really homesick. There was a lot of energy spent there with him and wasn't sleeping right. So because I wasn't sleeping very well, getting up early in the morning to do a workout was hard work, or getting home at 9 o'clock at night, all you want to do is go to bed, and then realising you haven't done a workout yet.
Yeah.
There was definitely, I think 1 or 2 days was just like, I think I'm going to have to tap out here. But that's the beauty of the group that we've created too, because you don't want to be, it's not that you don't want to be that person that falls short. There's just a group of people there that are helping you and supporting you. Like there's so many mums within that group that have got, multiple children, juggling, work and everything else they've got going on. They're not sleeping because, their children are up and down during the night. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Just need to find a way, I guess.
Yeah. I ran a half marathon the other week for the first time. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
But it was forced.
Yeah.
It was because my friend did it, and he's a runner, and there's 6 of us in the group, and none of us are runners besides him. And so one by one, they all just felt the need to do it after he did it.
Yeah.
And then I was the last one, and so they were giving me a lot of slack about not doing it. So I thought I have to do it now.
Yeah.
And I had the same feeling because I had then told people that I was doing it. People came out to East Point, my friends, to watch me and support me. And I couldn't feel my legs after 12 Ks, but I had to keep going because these people had driven 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And
to watch you.
Yeah, and I can't stop.
But I think that's the beauty of putting it out there. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And then you need to follow through with it because you've got those people that are, surrounding you or watching you and wanting you to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw on mine or Kyle's Instagram, last Thursday and Friday, we did the David Goggins 4x4 x 48.
Oh, yeah.
And that was messed up.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, I had some great sort of life-changing thoughts. And one of them was about putting your goals out into the world.
Yeah.
Because that was a spur of the moment thing where we were like, do you want to do this? Yes, okay, let's do it. I'll take 2 days off work, sweet. The next week, we were in the car park on Instagram posting a video saying, hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And so now you can't
back
stop.
out.
You can't back out.
Yeah.
No. And then even when it gets tough, you can't say okay, guys, I'm hurt
just a bit
now. I'm
hard.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people are with you now. And so, that was messed up. Do you know what the challenge is?
I've heard about it, but no, not in detail.
You just run every 4 hours for 48 hours. It equals up to about 78 kilometres.
Yeah, wow.
In 2 days. And and we're not runners.
Yeah.
So we paced ourselves, but it's
how many Ks is that every 4 hours?
6.4.
6.4.
Yeah. So there's 4 a.m.s, 8 a.m.s, 12 a.m.s, whatever. It just keeps going.
Oh, and in the heat here too.
Oh,
mate.
Brutal. but so we
well done.
Oh,
that's huge. That is huge.
Yeah. It was amazing. And I also had the thought during it that that despite the fact that we're doing something hard, that there are so many other people out there suffering, and just because my knee is sore, that gives me the right to complain.
Yeah.
And so I had to keep going because my pain was so minimal to theirs.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I found with voluntarily undertaking hard tasks is the gratitude and the humility you get from that.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just sit on the couch, you don't have that thought.
Yeah.
And those are the people I find that tend to complain a bit more just because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And yeah, by the 11th run, there's 12 runs in total. I was in the trenches.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to make it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just,
You did it.
I did it. Yeah, yeah. So
Did you have a crew of people that were there with you?
Yeah. It was brilliant because we had friends that would come and run with us and like friends that were coming and running at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
when they had work the next day.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it was like every pretty much every run we had someone with us.
That's amazing.
And it was people just on Instagram who would reach out. This is cool. Like we met people from this.
Yeah.
People in different states who were sending us our Strava saying,
That's
"Hey, we
so
ran."
cool.
Oh, it was amazing, Ange.
And with that, though, is there do you have to do it like a certain day? Is this like a global thing that everyone does on the same day?
Apparently.
Yeah. Right.
Apparently.
Yeah,
there's
cool.
a certain month they do it in. We didn't. We just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's in April.
Right.
That people usually do it.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking into.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the sleep that just messes you
Yeah, I
up.
bet.
I had 5 hours sleep.
Yeah.
It's not worth sleeping because you run, and say you run at 12 a.m. and it takes you 40 minutes. Then you have 3 hours and 20 till your next run.
Yeah.
And if you sleep, it just feels like your next run is 2 seconds
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
So you want to, you obviously want to eat.
Yeah.
You want to stretch. You want to roll, and that takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and any
And
sort
no
of
training.
no training. Yeah. Well, that was another thought that I had from it. It was like then seeing people post on their Instagram saying, "Hey guys, I'm training for this half marathon in October," and I was like, "Well, I don't think you have to train." Like,
I literally just had this conversation about before I got here.
yeah,
Half marathons or marathons, it's 90% mental, like if you want to get it done, you'll find a way and you'll get it done. Grey Ocean Road last year, it was such an eye-opener for me. It wasn't a whole pack of really fit runners. You had people, all demographic, all fitness levels. They were just putting one foot in front of the other and getting it done. And I was just like, anyone can actually do this. If they want to do it, they'll find a way and they'll get it done.
yeah. And I don't know what time you're trying to beat. Are you trying to beat Elliot Capolje?
I know.
And by that time that August comes around for the half marathon in Sydney or whatever, if you just keep doing them, you'll have done 10.
Yeah.
Rather than train and then that's your first one and you don't know how you're going to go.
Yeah.
So and definitely the 90% mental part. I mean, that's you discovered that, especially when it comes time to just ignore your body.
Yeah.
And I just have to keep going here. Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah, well done.
Really cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry I wasn't aware of it and wasn't a part of that whole, we would have
we should have
promoted.
posted
Yeah,
it.
we would have promoted that.
I know, spewing about that. And Kyle's gone now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about you starting ARC Fitness. Before then, you were a musician.
Yes.
And how long ago was that?
So I started ARC about 4.5 years ago now.
Okay.
So prior to that, I was a full-time musician, so singing and guitar teacher.
Yep.
And performed around Darwin. So I was doing that full-time.
Were you into fitness back then?
Always have been into fitness, but going right back, I always wanted to be a PT, always wanted to be one, and then fell pregnant at a young age, and then life just sort of changed. Fell into the corporate world because, I bought a house and you have to pay bills, you've got to support your child that you've just brought into the world. And then it wasn't until I had a a bit of a life-changing experience too. I became quite unwell. And at that same time, a girlfriend of mine also got diagnosed with cancer, and she didn't survive. Through my journey, came to a lot better health, and just thought tomorrow's just not promised. Do you know what I mean? Next year's not a given. I really want to do what it is that I feel like I'm, here for, and it was to better people through health and fitness. So just decided that I was going to start my studies. Just got qualified, and then started PTing or doing group classes actually at iFitness. But I don't know, it just became too restrictive for me. You've got to go in there, you've only got a short period of time. You've got to basically follow the criteria that they want. This is not bad on iFitness either. This is just, I just wanted to do my own thing, be in charge of my own structure, programming and hours, especially with having 4 kids. That was pretty important to me. So I decided that I was going to start this from home. So just set up a little gym at home, had 3 members start with me. And then just before COVID, I think we had about 50. So it was a really short space of time. Closed over COVID, we obviously had to, and then opened up down at Raiders, and then just grew really quickly down there. Then found our space where we are now, and from there I've just obviously grown. Now got the 3 studios and the cafe.
Now, what was your time in the corporate world like? Where did you work? I
worked in banking.
Yeah.
I also worked for the council, so this is back in New Zealand.
Yeah.
It was, it was good, I guess. It served its purpose. I don't feel like I'm a typical indoorsy, type of worker. And the thought of not being able to, again, especially with having young kids, I just felt like I was missing out on too much. You have to rock up at just before 8 and you leave at 5, and I just wanted something that was more flexible and was going to work more so for me and my family. So, yeah, that's why I decided I'd go out on my own, find my own thing that I was passionate about, which was music at the time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you did music. You left the corporate world to do
music.
Yeah.
So, that was my first left, and started teaching music. Ended up with one of the biggest music schools in my region where I was from in New Zealand. And, from there, that's what I did. Sung, so played at weddings and corporate functions and that sort of thing. And then during the week was teaching music at schools, and then moved to Darwin and same thing. And then, one day I was just like, no, I'm going to get into the health and fitness industry because that's what I've always wanted to do. And here we are.
Great. Wow.
Taking a bit of a leap of faith, it's same with leaving the corporate world. I remember sitting there in the office that I was working in, and my boss at the time said something to me, and I was just like, this just isn't for me. And literally got out of my chair and just said, hey, I think my time here is done. Where are you off to? I was like, I just don't know, but I'll figure it out. Just taking that, I don't know. I really feel like I'm a believer, I should say, of living your days filled with passion and purpose, and I just wasn't where I was at that time. So music obviously was my passion at the time, and I love sharing that with children. So that's how that came about.
Wow. I think I'm in a similar position at the moment, Ange. I've got a corporate government job, and it is a different beast. Like that world is just, it is bizarre, and it's just all political and navigating interactions, and half the time it doesn't feel real. And I'm just like, I don't know where the line is between how much of this can I take and what is next, or what is that leap for me.
I think, I don't know, going back to the corporate world and how it makes you feel, like I definitely feel like my spark was being dulled. Like you have all these dreams that you want to make an impact on the world, and like you just can't in those sort of situations.
It just feels unalive, I think.
Yeah.
It just feels like, people's ambitions have died there.
I agree.
In a way.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So what's next for you then?
I don't know. Well, actually.
You do know.
I do know. Yeah, I do know. I'm doing interstate guests.
Yeah.
Soon. So I had some plans this year for my podcast.
Yeah.
And I made a wager with my friend Kyle that I would give him $5,000 if I don't post a podcast every Monday.
Wow.
Which is why I really needed you to come today. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And so and I read this in a book and he just said, whatever your goals are, if you don't back yourself to achieve them, put a wager on it.
Yeah.
And it could be anything small, it could be a big goal, it could be whatever. And then I after reading that little line, I texted him and I said 5,000, and he said no. And I said please, and he said, well, how about 2,000? Like, let's make it really. And I was like, I will give you the 5,000. Just say yes. Yeah. And there's no negative in this for you.
Yeah.
You either get the money or you don't.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And but then that was a stage where then I just went into panic mode because I was like, oh my God. Like, the best I was doing before this was once every sort of 3 weeks. Yeah. And I'm still struggling to find people that I wanted to conversate with. Yeah. And yes, and now I'm at a stage where I want to, obviously I have the obligation to have the volume of podcasts high, but also want to keep the quality high. And that means branching out into Australia. So, I would love to make this full time with sponsors and whatnot. Yeah. But for the time being, it's going to be sort of out of my own pocket. Yeah. Traveling to my next stop is Adelaide to do a few people there, Melbourne, Sydney, wherever.
Amazing.
And I'm so happy, excited about that. But as a way of income, before that sort of kicks off, I'm not sure. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. But I think one of the goals that I made for 2024, rather than having a long list of goals, was every time I say I'm going to do something, I want to keep my word on it. Yeah. And so and that's one thing where I was like, I want to post every Monday and I have to do it. Rather than being like, I want to gain 10 kilos and, those New Year's resolution goals never used to work for me. Yeah. And I think the reason was that I was never backed my word.
And they've really got to mean something to you too, like obviously you and like the goal that you've set for yourself, that's like your passion too, hey? Like like this is you setting yourself up like your future. So you putting it out there, that's a way to make this happen for you. Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, back yourself.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
I really get sort of excited when I talk about that. Yeah. And that's a hopeful sign for me that it seems that I'm on the right trajectory. Yeah. I'm 22 now though, but I also feel that I'm somewhat in a constant sort of midlife crisis because I'm so concerned about my future. Yeah. But I'm happy that I'm like that because I know that that's going to drive me to do something that I really want to do. Yeah. Rather than getting to 45 and figuring that out. Yeah. So, hey, I'm really excited for 2024.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
When do you go to Adelaide?
March 16th is where I booked in. Yeah. So a couple of weeks. Yeah. But I wanted to do interstate guests by March was the plan. So that's...
Good on you.
Yeah.
And you've got a list already lined up?
Yeah. I've got a couple of people.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been reaching out. And they've said yes.
Cool. Amazing. Good.
Yeah. Super cool. Anyways, okay, back to the topic. Yep. So how did you go about making ARC then? Before that, so you're doing music with a sort of passion for fitness. Yep. You did your PT course. Yeah. And was it then that you decided that you wanted to start a gym? Or was it after Palmerston iFitness or wherever iFitness that you were like, I want to sort of have my own space to do this?
I think I'd always planned in my mind, I wanted to create a health hub. So I see, fitness being one part of it, but then also having all the other, like, your yoga, your Pilates, so your functional fitness, yoga, Pilates, the cafe, the nutrition side of things. That's what I'd always planned or what I always saw in my head. But obviously you can't just go out and create that like that. So breaking it down into little steps, start it at home, get your clientele, your base, and then just start to grow and add on from that. So yeah, I think that's how that all started. And I remember the point where I came up with the name ARC. I was on the treadmill just running and thought, like, what is it that fitness means to you? And it is like adapting. Like, we adapt regularly, adapt to situations and then resetting because of injuries, and then going forth and conquering. And that conquering is significant to me because, again, like, there's been lots of setbacks. So adapting and resetting to those, and then going forth and conquering the situation. So yeah, that's how I guess it all came about.
Do you think that the name was the most important part? A lot of people say that once you have a name, it sort of it goes
it helps
from there.
to create the vision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that big?
Yeah.
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 And so you came with it on the treadmill?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember texting my brother straight away. It was just like, I know what my health hub's going to be called.
Great.
Yeah. And he's just like, that's, why? And that's awesome. And I never ever looked back from that moment. Even I don't know if you're aware of the hashtag that we have. It's time for you. So ARC Fitness, Adapt, Reset, Conquer, it's time for you. Again, I'm a mum, 4 kids, found it really hard to find time for myself or to feel like I should have time for myself. And when I finally learned the importance of that, I just wanted to share that with so many people and create a space that, it's ARC is for everybody, but I am particularly passionate about mums and like allowing them that freedom or I just don't feel like they should feel guilty for coming into the studio and giving themselves a 45-minute workout or an hour. Like, it's time for them and the importance of them finding that time for themselves, because then everything else will benefit from it. Their children, the way they parent, their relationships. I feel like if you can invest some time into yourself, it's just important.
Yeah. And so I think your story is fascinating because then you started in your backyard. And yeah, how's that? Because I would imagine that most people after coming up with that would then go straight into building a gym or, doing something expansive. Why did you decide to start it in your backyard?
Just because the overheads, really. And again, starting small. So I've had the vision in my mind of what I wanted to achieve, but I just didn't have the financial backing just to go out and, purchase a big warehouse or what have you. So just thought I just need to break this down. So small steps. Like I said, converted the gym, so invested a bit of money into equipment with the backup plan that, hey, if it didn't work out, I haven't lost that much. Do you know what I mean? But if it does go according to plan, like, I've got so much more to gain from it. And then have just keep building on, like it's just like putting building blocks together, connecting them.
Yeah.
Nail that piece, then move on to the next little piece of the puzzle.
Cool. And it just kept going.
Yeah.
So 3 to 50 people, how long did that take?
Probably maybe like 5-6 months.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It was really good. And do you know what? The most exciting thing about that is that majority of those people still train at ARC.
Yeah.
Like, the foundation, I say this often, like, the foundation that we have there is so solid. It's built on this amazing community of people that have been with me from the start, and yeah, just keep bringing more people into that space. It's really cool.
One of the topics that I've been heavily interested in as of late has been communication. And the more you read about a topic, the more you realise how A, bad people are at it, and B, how little you know about it. And something like communication is something where people think that just because they have a grasp of the language that they must then instantly be good communicators. And one of the things that I saw coming into ARC, my first session, and then from then on, people who would come for the first time and I would see you interact with them was like this nurturing sort of welcoming environment that you've seemed to create. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people stick around.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a community where no other place does. So I'm wondering how you sort of fostered that.
Well, partly, I don't know. I feel like a lot of that is just, I can't just say, look, that's just my nature, but it really is. Like, I really do value the people that step into that space. I understand, like, how hard it can be for starters to come into a new environment. So I get that, and trying to make people feel at ease. But also, like, I care. I really do care about each and every person that comes in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to get to know you. I want to get to know what your goals are. It's not hard for me. I don't know. I just don't find that aspect of what I do hard. I love connecting with people. I love learning about what they do and just enjoy caring.
Yeah. Do you get goosebumps when you look back on 100%. The community now?
Yeah. Like, there's honestly moments that hit me where I just look back, you know, workout might be in full swing or what have you, and just seeing the way the clients or members interact with each other, it really lights me up inside. The friendship and bonds that have been formed within that space are quite, it's pretty cool to think you've played a part in creating that for somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think another thing too is, like, I'm here with no family at all. So, and I know a lot of other people are too. So trying to offer them that place where they feel a sense of home. Like, ARC to me is like my home, my family. The people that come there I feel very connected to. They are my family away from, you know, my real family. So yeah, I think, I don't know, I feel like people don't realise how much I probably gain from what's going on here, the community that is there. Yeah, I feel very lucky that I get to gain so much from it. Do you know what I mean? Like, my purpose for getting up every day, and I love coming and seeing people walk through the door. Like, I want to know what they got up to over the weekend, and I enjoy that.
Great. Wow. And how often do you cry happy tears from it, do you think?
I'm not really like a huge crier.
Right.
But I definitely, like I said, every couple of days there'll be something that I will just look at and think, wow, that's so cool. Like today we had 75 hard 1RM testing, and the members that were in there just supporting each other and the words of encouragement they give each other. Everyone gets so excited watching people achieve. And I just sit there and I think, how cool was this? You know, like, I don't know, it just is constantly giving back to me the whole, the feel good, you know. What an environment to be in, positive and uplifting constantly. Again, so far away from the corporate world that's so draining. You rock up to work and there's just so much energy and vibe and, good times in there, really.
Great.
Yeah, you soak it up.
Has there been like a particular member that has moved you through their transformation or through their fitness journey?
There's probably been several, really. And again, we go back to people that it's probably not the people that are the most fittest or that excel always. It's the people that have just come so far. The moment they walk in the door and they're anxious or they're shy and they're just starting out, and then you just slowly see them transform into these, people that are just, all of a sudden they've just got all this confidence and they're doing things they never dreamed of. And I don't know, I feel like it's the people that are initially finding things really hard. Like I sit back and I just think, gosh, we can all do hard things if we put our mind to it.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. And how have you how'd you come up with the hit sessions? Or how do you keep constantly coming up with new ones?
Maybe this is where my creative side, so the music, obviously you have to be quite creative in order to be a musician.
Yep.
I just feel like it's, again, probably a natural thing for me. Like I don't know where the inspo comes from. I'll look at the situation, the equipment we have, the number of people that we have, and I just think, start with something and then the idea just, I don't know, just grows.
So how far in advance do you plan it?
Ideally, I like to plan like about 6 weeks in advance. But
For one session?
so I will do like a whole 6-week block.
Oh.
Yeah. So like I'm at the moment now working on, March, April, May.
Cool.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been 2 nights before. No.
Unless I'm like, rushed off my feet and have not been able to do it. No. It's fully planned.
There you go.
Because, we talk about our strength training and all that sort of stuff, like how people become stronger. It's not just by programming the same amount of reps each week or the same moves each week. You need to, do like a conditioning piece where you might be doing 10 reps at a medium weight, and then next week we're going to do maybe that same move, but we're going to do 5 reps max, or our 3 rep max, or our 1 rep max. So you're building into it, and then you want to taper off and that sort of stuff. So yeah, programming is very interesting.
Yeah. Going back on the community feel, one thing that I want to say was, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, but this has been my thoughts over the last probably 2 months, is when I went to India, I realised that my personality shifting was a result of the environment that I was in. And so my moods and sometimes I wouldn't get angry at situations I'd get angry at, or vice versa, was entirely almost dictated by the environment that I was in. And that led me to think that we must then be overwhelmingly a product of our environment. And so on a broad scale, it seemed to me that wherever you live, those are the traits and the characteristics and the desires and wants that you adapt of the country that you're in and its people, and whether you know it or not, subconsciously that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
But on a smaller scale, that's not the case as much. And so on a smaller scale, like if you smallen your circle, that way you still have choice, because the first option, you don't have choice.
No.
Everything's being thrown at you, and you're a rock in the ocean.
Yeah.
But the smaller one, you choose when you get up out of bed in the morning, you choose what you want to eat, you choose who your friends are, and in that way it becomes crucially important who you surround yourself with, because still there is some influence of other people around you, although not as much.
Yeah.
And what I found about ARC is that being in that community, it feels like you have so much autonomy and choice, and that you're making the right choice because everyone around you is not even highly motivated, but highly disciplined to do this rigorous task every morning.
Yeah.
They have the same lives as you, if not more difficult.
Yeah.
And there's this beautiful community being fostered.
Yeah.
And it just feels like you're constantly becoming better.
Yeah. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Credit to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that was it was a interesting thought, because sometimes I feel like I'm so ever changing and adaptable. I want this thing on the internet because everyone else wants it.
Yeah.
But ARC is sometimes, and when I'm doing tough fitness challenges, is when I feel like I'm my own person who is doing things for me.
Yeah. But you're also, everyone that's there, they've chosen to be there too. They're choosing to be there to better themselves, and they want that for the other people that are around them too. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And how many days of your 75 hard have you got?
42. I'm into 42 today. So what's that? 42.
42.
33
30
left.
something, 33.
Yeah, 33.
Do you think you'll make it?
100%.
Are you worried about getting injured at all?
No, not really. Nah.
Not until now.
No, until you just mentioned it. No, because, if you get injured, I'm sure, there's yoga or there's other stuff you can do.
Oh, cool.
But, 100% if I commit to something, there's no way I'm not doing it. Yep. Even though I mentioned before that there were some, some challenging days and whatnot where I thought, oh, gosh, I don't know if I will make it. I guess that's just thoughts in those moments. But when you really are in that, I know that when I was in that moment of I just don't think I can get this workout done tonight or what have you, you're very quick to remind yourself, gosh, you've just come 42 days. You're not backing out now. You are going to get to the end of it.
Mate.
Yeah. And like you said, put it out there to the world. Everyone knows I'm on it, so there's no turning back.
Yeah, because the apology, like the withdrawal letter, is worse than anything you could imagine.
Yeah, especially for me. I'm leading the group. Imagine if I was like, guys, I'm tapping out now. You're on your own. It's just not allowed to happen.
How's the marathons been?
Good.
Half marathons?
So I've been doing 1 half marathon every week for 2024. And I've got a 45K in May that I'm doing.
A half marathon a week?
Yeah.
How many have you done so far?
Well, I've done, how many weeks have there been this year? I want to say I've done like 8 or 9 because I did 1 week where I did 2.
Okay.
Yep.
That seems about right. I think there's been 7 weeks.
Yeah. So there was a couple of weeks where I was running like 80, 90 Ks a week.
Wow. Okay.
So 10 Ks a day plus a half marathon, I should say. But I'm just pulling back a little bit now from that.
Yep.
And then in the next couple of weeks, we'll gear up for Great Ocean Road to do that again this year.
That's a full marathon?
Yeah, 45 Ks, just over a marathon.
Are you planning on running the entire time?
Yep.
No walking?
Nah, we'll run it. So I did it last year, but that was with about 10 weeks prep.
Okay.
And I'd put that out there. So I turned 40 last year and said to my brother, I'm going to do a half marathon for my birthday. And he was like, cool, I'll do it with you too. Looked up, Great Ocean Road was around the date of my birthday. Sweet, that's what we're going to do. He, a couple of weeks later, got diagnosed with bowel cancer, and it just he's like my best mate, absolutely rocked my world. So in all my wisdom was just like, I'll run your half and my half. So very quickly found myself in training for a full marathon and severely injured myself just because of the overload that I was doing, the training, but got it done. And the feeling crossing that line after doing that was incredible. And going back to what you said before, the pain that I was enduring, I knew was nothing in comparison to what he was going through, the treatment he was going through. He had no choice about any of that either. Like, he had to rock up and he had to show up for himself every day, where I just thought, there's no not completing this. You are going to do it because, he doesn't have a choice. He's got to go through all the hard times. So you can just stick it out, find a way. You can do hard too. And then crossing that line was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then decided, right, I'm going to do it next year, but this time I'm going to do it with actual prep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I'm doing it this year.
How did you go last year while you were doing it? Were you just in pain?
Yeah, so I had a couple of stress fractures and a huge amount of stress on my hip. Again, it was just from doing too much too quick, which I knew, but I had a short period of time to prep for.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, I was just solely on the bike. So rocked up 2 days before the marathon, was still running with a huge limp. And on the day, just ran without any issues.
You were running with a limp 2 days before?
Yeah, because my hip was just so bad.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a last-minute cortisone in my hip, and they weren't too sure if it was going to kick in on time. And then ran, got it done. Had him on the video as I was crossing the line. It was pretty cool.
Great.
Yeah, it was good.
How many people ran in that marathon?
I can't remember. Like there's a few thousand that do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the worst time?
The worst time isn't like the worst time whilst I was running,
No,
or
like
the worst time.
Yeah, so who got the worst time?
I don't know. Like there's a 7-hour cutoff.
Okay, because me and my friends want to do one now.
Yeah.
And we're thinking of maybe doing one in July.
Yeah.
And I need to know what the cutoff time is.
No, like you'll be fine. You should come do the one in May with us. There's a group of us doing it. Honestly, you should do it.
How many people doing it?
I think we've got maybe about 8 so far.
Okay.
And like we said before, you know, like I feel like it's one of those things you just got to go, yep, I'm going to do it. Put it out there and then there's no stopping you.
Yeah, because I'm happy to limp. I limped from run 6 to 12 in my challenge.
Yeah.
I was just hobbling.
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah, I'm there.
I'm an experienced limper.
But when you break it down, like 45 Ks and you've got a 7-hour cutoff point, I'd done the math. I was like, I know that I can walk. I think it's 8K in an hour. That's all I've got to hold. That's if I can walk 8K an hour, I know I'm going to get this done. So any parts that I can run, obviously, is going to be beneficial for me because I'm going to get there quicker.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I had to walk, I would have walked it. But luckily I ran.
Ideally, yeah, you don't want to. Yeah.
But I just knew that I had to make that cutoff point.
Yeah, I think we'll do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'll tell Kyle
You heard it
about
first.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do it.
Good.
In May, where is it?
So Great Ocean Road. So you start at you start at Lawn and you run through to Apollo Bay.
Where's this? Is it in Australia?
Down in Melbourne, yeah.
Down in Melbourne.
Great Ocean Road, so right along the coast.
And nice scenery, I imagine.
Well, I imagine so too. Last year the weather was so bad, we didn't really see much in the way of scenery. It was stormy, wet, so cold. It's pretty hilly and challenging, but why not?
Why not?
Yeah. They reckon it's one of the toughest ones to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever get runner's high?
100%. Oh. I literally finished that run so broken and I was just like, I'm doing it again. I'm going to do it next year. Signed up straight away and that's why because I think if I had time to think about it, I would have talked myself out of it.
I reckon that's probably when they get their most sign-ups
too,
straight after.
I agree. Yeah. Definitely get runners high. You know, when you go through, like you're saying before, the trenches and it's hard work, the feeling you get once you complete it is just really cool.
Do you meditate at all?
No. I should, but I'm not a very calm. Like even sitting here is probably the longest I've ever sat.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because I do mindfulness meditation.
Yeah.
And a big component of that is understanding your surroundings and trying to listen to noises and feel the earth and whatever. And since doing that, I've had like lots of experiences of just feeling truly alive and like being truly present.
Yeah.
And while I'm running, that's when I find that I get that the most. And I'll send videos on Snapchat to my mates being like, I just feel truly alive. Boy, I love you, boys.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, what are you talking about?
But I feel like running to me is though my form of meditation because I feel all that too. Like, and the gratitude I have, like when I'm running and the sun's coming up, I'm just like, how lucky am I that I get to move my body the way I do and in such a beautiful environment and whatnot. And I'm the same. I just love everything in the world. But, you know, I don't stop and meditate.
No.
Running for me is
running
meditation.
Is yes. I imagine there's too much going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And what does a usual day look like for you? Like run me through your routine.
So on a non-running day, I'd be up at 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And then at work just before 4:30 and then run classes. I think the misconception with people is that, you know, you coach, so you run classes and then the rest of the day you must have like nothing else to do. Running classes for me is like just the fun part of my day. the day then starts with all the admin, all the business side of things. So it's pretty full on. And then obviously there's a couple of classes throughout the day into the evening, and then I'll sort of get home and finish about 7:30
PM.
Yeah, and then looking to head off to bed, I guess, about 9:30, 10 o'clock by the time I've finished doing, catching up on all the messages I receive throughout the day and stuff like that. If it's a running day, I'll be up at 3, or I might choose to do a run later that night. So I'd be getting in maybe about 9 o'clock. So depending on.
And what do you usually do for dinner?
Well, I use Steph's meal preps.
Yeah.
Or I'm a big food prepper myself. So like Sundays afternoon, just prep food, like prep.
Okay.
Not just for me, but for the kids, the family. Everyone knows where their containers are. They heat it up, they eat it. If not, we just don't eat. Do you know what I mean? Like we have to be like just super organised.
Wow. What advice would you give to me? I feel like I want to be more busy, but I'm struggling to be more busy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes I do work, but I'm hardly doing work. Like I'm here, I'm present, but not much is getting done. Like, do you think there's like, I'm just trying to figure out how you think someone would go about filling up their day like you do.
Well, I don't really know. I can't answer that. I feel like I can never get on top of my day. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you feel like you've got too much.
Yeah, I do. It's not a nice feeling to have
Really?
there either. No, because, it's amazing. The business has grown so much, but it's also grown really quickly. And I often feel like I'm just like
Playing catch up.
Yeah, just trying to keep my head afloat. Because you go through these periods of time. At the moment, I'm doing, all the admin, all the social media stuff, all the programming, coaching, like is a lot. And you start bringing more people on, which is, more work too, really, with the training and all that sort of stuff. But you also, from the business side of things, got to get to the point where it's like, well, I can afford now to hire someone to do the admin so I can offload, the admin work to that person. But you kind of, I don't know, it's always like, are we at that point yet where we can justify that or we can afford that? Do you know what I mean? You're always assessing. And when it's not until you get to that point, I guess, where you are able to offload work that your day doesn't become quite so busy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But I guess my advice to you would be, you've spoken about your podcasts and that you really want to get, your goals for 2024 is to grow this. So just constantly be chipping away at it, always reaching out to people and find ways that you can keep it interesting and fresh and market yourself and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Research other people that are doing podcasts too.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Learn.
Yep. And what's next for Arc Fitness? You've got 3 studios now.
Yep. What's next for us? A run club.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's popular now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Arc, another run club. That's what it's going to be called.
Arc, another.
So Arc is
Yes.
the name, obviously,
Yep.
Arc Fitness. But break that down to another run club. So ARC.
Oh, nice
Another
one.
run
Arc,
club.
Arc.
See? Arc.
Cool.
Yep. So that will be established.
Oh, and that will be huge from the get-go, I imagine.
Yeah. But there's already so many of the members that are out running, which is really cool.
Yep.
I really we're in the city now. I really want to see that space start to grow. That's a real point of interest for me, I'm pouring my time into that space. The HQ is flourishing so much. So just want to spend some more time, invest in CBD, bring some flavours of Studio B into there, and would also love to set up some sort of little cafe there as well. So just, I think, build on what we do have as opposed to expanding anymore at the minute. There's always dreams of more, always. I think there always will be. I'm never one to sort of get too complacent, and I think I'm like going back to the time thing. As soon as I manage to offload work and relieve some of my stress or my workload and start to be like, oh yeah, cool. I'm like, I've got all this time for myself. Oh, I wonder what I should do now. Maybe I'll look at opening up a new studio and make myself busy again. Yeah, I don't like having too much spare time, I guess.
Yeah.
The brain's always ticking over on new ideas.
It's funny because you said you didn't like being too busy, but I think you can't help yourself.
Oh yeah, I do agree. Yeah. But it's hard, like every now and again I'm just like trying to shush the mind, like that's a great idea, but just shush for a little bit. Come back and see me in 6 months' time.
Do you think it's a blessing or a curse that your mind is that active? I've had this question for myself, and a lot of people who have an active mind try to mitigate it. And they try to stop it through whatever it is, alcohol or weed or, prescription drugs or whatever. But I think for me personally, it's a blessing. I just enjoy thinking and never running out of thoughts or having ambitions or different goals. Is that the same for you?
100%. And love challenges too, like I feel like in life sometimes if we just get too complacent or just ho-hum, like that's just not me. Like I love the thrill and the excitement of something new and challenging to sink my teeth into. I really enjoy that. See, when things start to sort of, I guess, get a little bit, the pace starts to slow. I'm just like, oh, it's time. It's time to get into something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ange, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.